extreme.
Yes.
Hey everyone, this is Andrew from Visions TV Online. I hope you are doing really well. Today I'm coming with another interview. This person has been in the industry for quite a while. You know, she's been doing her thing in the background. Like people who've been in the industry for a while know who she is, but she's not sometimes really in the forefront so much. So no, I thought let Vision TV come online and just do a little interview and introduce to you this wonderful lady who's doing great, amazing stuff in the industry. She runs companies like Level Tickets. She's got a booking agency called Artistehub. She's got a company called industrydeveloper.com. She's doing great things, and you guys need to know who she is. And guess what, guys? She is also the CEO of the GMIA. Guys, without further ado, let me introduce to you Audrey Gray. Audrey, how are you doing?
Hi, Andrew. Thanks for having me. Yeah, sounds amazing. What an amazing introduction.
No. It's only right. It's only right. You know, like I said, people like who knows the background of the industry and developing the industry and etc. know who you are. But there's not a lot of people that do, and you do so much things to help with artists to develop them. I know that you used to do be a touring manager as well, and etc. Like, please tell us, who is Audrey Gray?
So I'm this person that's beavering away in the background. As you said, you know, most of the roles in the industry are unseen. So we do a lot for artists, a lot for different business organizations, but we're usually planning them, we're usually executing them silently in the background. So you're right to say that I haven't been in the limelight, because I'm kind of not interested in being in the limelight in the first place, but so it works for me. But yeah, that's why people, you know, I still go out to do shows and I hear people pointing, oh, that's Audrey Gray. I'm like, why are they doing that? Why are they doing that? They're like, because people don't know actually who you are. It's like, oh yeah. So yeah, it's a bit of a weird one, but yeah.
Yeah.
In the background.
So like I said, she's done things in the background. She's worked on events like the PAIA, which is a part of a Step Forward's Poetry in Autumn event. Mm-hmm. She's been behind that. She's also been a part of like award ceremonies as well, historically. Like Audrey, where did it actually start for you? You know, like to actually say, I want to be in a position in helping artists to develop themselves. And where did that passion come from? Well,
music has always been like part of me. I've never been able to leave music alone in any shape or form, saved or unsaved. I've always thrown myself deep into music. So I cut my teeth on the industry, if you like, while I was living abroad in Trinidad and Tobago. Yeah. So I started vocal coaching students, and then after a while thinking, oh, you know, you could do a CD, you know, and then they'd come back and ask me, how do you do that? So sort of by default, I started managing my students.
Sure.
Right. So I'm introducing them to producers and then to musicians, and then sort of building up from there, and then wondering, okay, what's the next step? Going away and studying a little bit and finding out, okay, well, we should do a launch. This is how we're going to do it. We should do some PR. This is how we're going to do it. So quite organically, I sort of developed an interest in the industry. And then once you do that, I think people are attracted to you automatically.
Yeah.
And you can't get out. That's the long and short. You can't get out of it because this talent's always coming back to you. And like I said, I think once music's in your bones, it's in your bones. You have to activate it somehow.
Sure, that makes sense. And that's the same with me, because I was kind of born into the music, the gospel industry as well, because my dad was a guitarist in the
very famous guitarist.
Let's not go there, but but yeah, he was in the industry. My older brother plays keyboard in the church and etc. And but my music background was built up on Chick Corea as well, Chick Corea and Herbie Hancock, because my BB Kings as a guitarist, but and those are the type of sounds that my dad used to listen to, or my brother used to play, and also just like being in the church as well, being brought up in a Kojic church, and being around influences like Nicky Brown, Jerry Brown, and all those type of people. Music was a part of my upbringing too. So when did it start for you to say, no, what, I'm going to transition? Because which one came first, Artistehub or Level Tickets? Which one came first?
So Artistehub came first. So after living in the Caribbean and the States for about 12 years, so literally I was out of the UK for about 12 years, I returned to the UK, and it was a whole, what is this world? Who are these people? It's what happened to my friends, where they were gone. So it was quite a hard transition, but when I came back, I didn't really want to do anything in music, but like I said, it started itching me, and I started to go out to open mics and just meet really great talent, and then go up to them, just find myself offering my services to help them develop further. And so I started to look around at what was missing in the UK market, and I realized that promotional touring was something that wasn't really picked up here. Sure. Although you've got lots of great talent, it's like, getting out of your territory was an issue. So I started to develop Artistehub for that purpose. Okay. And luckily I started working with an artist that was quite easy for me to tour. After sort of developing a marketing strategy and stuff like that, I got him toured around the Caribbean. And so it was birthed that way. I got the template for it that way. And then I just thought, okay, couple the relevant services to that, which would be, of course, if you're touring an artist, it's useful to be able to do events, and it's useful to be able to be in with artists. So I started offering booking services. So what Artistehub does is it does booking services, artist marketing services, and event production and tour management. Yeah. So all those elements are sort of in that component there.
So how easy was it for you to kind of immerse yourself in that type of field? Because like in the gospel industry, there wasn't really a lot of people to kind of doing that type of thing, especially like in doing touring artists into other countries and etc. Those are the type of things which might have been known in the mainstream a bit more. But when it comes to gospel, how did you transition into that, and how easy was that for you?
I think a lot of it was about God's timing, to be honest, because the act that I initially toured, I think if it was outside of that time, and it may not have worked as well in the Caribbean, he had songs that would impact them. He had a song that the church was basically titling the song of the year, if you see what I mean. So it kind of worked in my favor in that instance, but it really helped to just go out on a limb and do it. And just realize, okay, if I don't make any money, I don't make any money. I want a template that can work for artists afterwards. I think a lot of entrepreneurs, especially within the Black community, that's how we do. We go out and we just do it. We're not looking about the theory behind it, or the work, the workflow balance, or we're not looking about how we're going to fund it or stuff like that. We just go out and do it. And if you've got a model that works, then you just tweak that model. So really, that's how it started. And then I started to look at other artists that I was interested in. So that's how I got to start working with Jake Isaac. Yeah, because I just loved his music. And again, remember, for me, I was out of the UK for that 12 years. So I missed the entire gospel boom in the UK. So for
Okay.
me, it was getting to know artists sometimes from scratch, and then
Sure.
them asking me, wondering how comes you don't know me? Do you know what I mean? How comes you don't know me? But I wouldn't know you because I wasn't here. So it, although some people might have seen that as a disadvantage, I saw it as a full advantage. It's a way of
Yeah.
saying, look, I want to interview you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for what reason? I just want to interview you. I want to see how you started doing what you're doing. Do you know what I mean? And that is a good way to engage with people.
Sure. And that's interesting because sometimes when you kind of maybe that disadvantage might become an advantage because
Yes.
you might have some new fresh ideas which someone might not have had because of being in the field for X amount of years. So probably gave you fresh perspectives and maybe a fresh perspective to the artists also as well.
Definitely. I mean, it's what if you go to an artist and tell them I'm not interested in managing you, but I want to tour you, they're like, how are you going to do that?
Yeah.
So how are you going to make that happen? But it's quite possible because I know the difference between management, touring. I know the difference between booking and management. A lot of artists say they need a manager, but they need a booking agent. Or when you ask them why you need a booking agent, because I'm not getting bookings. So then you need an artist developer. Then you need to ask yourself, why aren't you getting bookings? You need to go one step backwards. So it's really sort of, and I've always been big on sort of educating the artists in the midst of whatever I'm doing. I don't hide anything that I'm doing. I'll educate you that this is why we're doing this. And these are the outcomes that we should be expecting. You know, this is the commitment that we need to have between each other for it to make it work, because it's always going to be a term. It's always going to be a team effort in gospel.
Yeah.
Because you're never really going to make back the money that you should be making. If you took the skill somewhere else. Do you know what I mean? If I was doing what I'm doing outside of here, then
it might be different.
Yeah.
So Audrey Gray's got 4 strands to herself.
Well, I've got Artistehub. So we know Artistehub does booking services, right? Marketing, event production and tour management. Then I did artist developer because it's a title I kind of gave myself. So before it was AG consultancy, but I just thought, you know what, I'm going to stick with this because people started to sort of realize that I'm not just about developing an act, I'm developing the whole industry around the act. Because I don't believe that you can develop an artist without simultaneously giving something to the industry. You've got to contribute something. So they've got a platform to go and do what they're doing. So industry developer became more about consultancy and sort of really drilling down, project managing an artist. Yeah, so that they can get the services that they actually need. I don't have to do full-on management. If it's just marketing that you need, then let's sit down and do the marketing strategy for this, or working with event organizers, because I saw a lot of mistakes that we do. And, you know, there's a lot of event managers that are just not doing events anymore because they've had to remortgage their house to pay off for an event that, you know what I mean? Everybody else is skipping along quite happily now, but they're still paying for it. That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, we need to we need to analyze how we do what we do and be very resourceful about it. And then level tickets was kind of birthed because as a Black, you know, as a Black community, we need to be able to have data is, and for when you're doing events, there's nothing sweeter than being able to manage your cash flow. That is about being able to sell tickets instantly the minute that you go on stream. And that happens when you can target an audience that's actually interested in your event. Going to larger event platforms, they just throw your event out to everybody. But imagine if you could just target your audience. So if I've got a list of people who've previously been to an event that's similar to yours, that's an instant boost of ticket sales when you go live. You need that. Do you understand? And being able to access that money quicker than other platforms is useful, and be able to get advice on, okay, I see your tickets are slowing down. Let's do this strategy, or let's do this on social media. So really working with independent producers and independent artists, churches and organizations that need help to push their ticket sales, and not neglect the Christian community. We want to go to events too. And not all of them are not all of them are gospel concerts. Some of them are expos, some of them are book launches. They're different things. So let's spread interest and really be viable in other markets in that way.
I totally agree with it. Hence the reason, that's why one of the things why Visions actually was birthed. Visions was birthed around in 2013, and we saw the need to actually put on events because back in the days in the UK, there was lots of concerts that you would go to, but it just literally just dropped. It plummeted. So yeah, 2013, 2012, 2013, we started putting on our own Christian events, which was banqueting events where people can actually come, eat some food, have few artists come down. We had people like Becca Furtz and other artists coming down to perform. So, and it was, there was a need at that time. So, yeah, I totally agree with what you actually just said. So let's get on to, like I said, Audrey Gray has probably got 4 strands. I'm sure there's like another strand that's hidden in the background.
Things that I'm hiding, yeah, sure.
So, like I said earlier at the beginning of the interview, I said that she also is the CEO of the GMIA. Wow. Like, that's amazing, Audrey, to be in such position, such influence within our community to help develop the industry to where it should be. Right. So why is that important to you, to develop the industry to where it should be? And then I'll get on to the next question, which will be, how did it actually come about for you to be in that position?
UK gospel is missing a whole level of credibility that it should have.
Yeah.
Coming from a different music market and then coming here and seeing, okay, they're underdeveloped, but in a different way. You understand? So, and we're not really targeting the parts that we need to develop. We're just doing again. Yeah. So some of it is going back to that theory of why is this working and why isn't this working? I think we need to claim gospel as our own, because I don't think I've ever seen a time in history where so many Christian or gospel musicians are playing for mainstream acts or singing with mainstream acts. There's a reason for that. And the fact is that the world's not going to give us that credibility. It's not going to say it's down to this background singer in the background, why we wrote the song this way. So I think there is a whole credibility around gospel that we're missing, and then we need to claim it. And so I think it's important that we need to, all hands to the plow. We need to make a difference, really. We need to make a difference.
Sure. Let me just jump to this question. So what is gospel music to you? And to be in this type of position and kind of leading in that field, what is gospel music to you?
So, gospel music is a medium to carry a message. Gospel music is a medium to carry influence. You know, it is for gospel artists. It is your go ye into all the world proclaiming the gospel. That's what it should be. You're just doing it in song, but that is your great commission. So supporting gospel artists is what we need to be focused on, I think. More than anything, because it could take so much different forms in terms of different genres, different representations, different presentations of gospel. And if we try to hammer those things down, we're actually hammering down the gospel. You're narrowing the reach of what you could be doing with your music and who you could be reaching with your music. So I think it's more, for me, it's more about supporting the artists to make sure they've got all the business aspect of their music down. And that they're able to function in a sustainable way, like everybody's able to function in a sustainable way. So that is the promoter, that's the producer, that's the background singer, that's the vocalist, it's everybody. It's not just about, when I say artists, I should probably say creatives, really, because it's everybody that's involved in the creative production of delivering an artist or delivering music that I'm referring to, really.
and most importantly, spreading the gospel, isn't it?
Right.
Spreading the gospel.
And you can do
through
that
your
when
music.
you're sustainable. You can do that when you've got strong songs. You could do that when you've got a support mechanism that's going to help to push your music out there, whether it is us supporting a media organization like yourself, so that you can support the artist when it comes to their music. We can't do everything, but we are a resource, and that we should be able to resource each other. Basically, we sew back into each other in order to get the whole thing pushed along.
Amazing. So, like I said, one of the questions was, how did you actually come into that position in being the CEO of the GMIA?
I think, well, partly doing what I'm doing all the time, and I'm seen, and it's quite a close-knit community in a sense.
Sure, yeah. It is, yeah.
But I started doing gospel topics, and I started to do that because I had my own frustrations of hearing artists and creatives, we go back to that term, having the same moan over and over again, that this has been going on for 250 years and nothing's been done, and blah, blah. So I started gospel topics with the rule that, I want you to come and tell me what your woes are, but you must come with a solution, because we have to come to terms with the fact that the solution is in us. We have to be part of that solution. It's no point saying that the problem is the churches, and what you should do, Audrey, is go and knock on the pastor's door and make a full complaint, where you have relationship with the pastor. So why can't you have that first discussion? You should be the first port of call, because we're not trying to blacklist everybody. Do you know what I mean? That's not the point. Look at what will the long-term vision. So I started doing those, and some of the members of GMIA started attending those. I started to write up some findings of what I was really seeing, what people are really saying when they say, that this is an issue for them or whatever. And that sort of led me to being headhunted to, would I consider it?
Sure.
Previous to that, I was nominated for, people were calling me and telling me I should, apply to be a director. I just didn't feel I was ready for that, really, for the director part. But then now, look, as God would have it, here I find myself as CEO. Whether I want to put my full foot in or full foot out, it wouldn't have made a difference. I'm still here. So, yeah.
Cool, amazing. And so what is, so that everyone knows, what is the vision of the GMIA? So we want to make people aware what the vision is, why people should subscribe to the GMIA, and just let them know what's the importance of the GMIA.
Well, like I said, GMIA is a full-on resource. So we're here to resource, represent, promote, and unite the community. And that includes us having conversations with music organizations, for example, and having a seat around those tables. We've recently had some discussions with a couple of the music funders to discuss really focusing on gospel artists, completing applications for funding, for example, and drilling down why we're not submitting applications, and what is the criteria, what's the quality of those. So we're working with them to develop workshops that will focus on our community, that will basically go through the form, will go through your project, give you a good Q&A so that you can be in a better position to apply for funding, because money does make a difference when you're trying to tour, when you're trying to produce an excellent product. So we're here to resource, like I said, represent, promote, and unite the community. We've been focusing, I remember our first port of call was really to get the website, the digital aspect up to par. So we've got that running at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah, we have subscriber plans that vary in their features that are available. That we have for free for the entire year. So I'd definitely say to people, go and at least subscribe to the free plan. It will make sure that you have access to all those workshops that I'm talking about as well. But yeah, so it's just really trying to develop something holistic for the community.
Sure. Yeah. Amazing. So I'm looking forward to when everything is like fully emotion. I know that the
Right.
website, I know I've subscribed, guys,
Yes,
to the GMIA. Yeah, so like I'm sure that you should make the steps to actually make a difference by joining the community also. So guys, make sure you do that. Audrey, now this is the part, yeah, where you're going to have a long list of to say, where could they find Audrey Gray?
Oh, no. Are you really going to do that, please?
Because you're going to have like 4 entities.
Let's just say, if you go to industrydeveloper.com, you can find it there.
Okay.
If you go on my Instagram, it's at Industry Developer, then you should be able to branch off into all the other pieces of work that I do. So between the website, industrydeveloper.com, you'll find my background on there, and there's links to the other business outlets that I run at the same time. So let me just put it that way, because I'm not going to go down the line.
Sure. Well, Audrey, listen, it was great having a conversation with you. It was great getting to know all the different entities and different things that you do within our community, and we appreciate what you do. So, Audrey, we salute you. Keep on doing what you're doing for the kingdom, and we appreciate you. And we're looking forward to all the other projects that you're doing with the GMIA, all the things that you're doing for Industry Developer, Artistehub. What was the last one now?
Level tickets.
Level tickets.
When events are up and running,
Sure.
Yeah.
So guys, make sure you check out all of these platforms that Audrey Gray is a part of. Like I said, make sure you check her out. We appreciate you, Audrey. God bless you and have a great day.
Thank you so much, Andrew.
No worries.
Bye.